Okay, guys, we are on slide 20 now. I've already included our arrows. So remember, on the bottom, we look to see if there is a pattern. And from 0 on the top, we are going up by 1. So we can look for a pattern on the bottom. And you can see we are adding 2. Okay, so on the bottom, we're adding 2. We've learned that if there is a pattern, a number you're constantly adding at the bottom, that for the rule, that will be the number that you are multiplying by. So that means for the rule, we're up here and we are multiplying by 2. However, you'll notice that 0 times 2 is 0 and we need 5. So that just tells us that we're going to add then 5 more. Okay, so let me make that bigger. So our rule is multiply by 2, add 5. Let's try it here and make sure it works. 1 times 2 is 2, and 2 plus 5 is 7, so that works. Let's try it here. 2 times 2 is 4, and 4 plus 5 is 9. So that means our rule, if we would multiply n times 2, so it'd be 2n, and then plus 5. So down here, describe the value of each term as a function of its position. We could say multiply the position by 2 and add 5 to get the value of the term, the bottom. Multiply the top, which is the position, by 2 and add 5 to get the bottom, which is the value of the term. Okay. Next slide is starting linear function. Inside the word linear, you will see the word line. So a linear function is going to be an equation that when we graph it, is going to graph a straight line. So we'll talk about that in a second. On slide 22, it says click and drag the boxes over here with numbers and operations to create an equation to represent the function. So we have a function table here again. You'll notice the top's going up by 1, so we can look at the bottom to see if there's a pattern. And you are adding 9. 9 plus 9 is 18. 18 plus 9 is 27. 27 plus 9 is 36. So we've learned that if that is there's a number you're constantly adding, then that will be the number that you multiply by for our rule. Okay, so we are multiplying by 9. And that's all, because 1 times 9 is 9. 2 times 9 is 18. 3 times 9 is 27. Okay, now we've replaced the value of the position number, the value of the term, everything is just x and y. So we are multiplying our 9 times what? Well, we're multiplying all the top numbers by 9, which is, if you look here, is our x. So it'd be 9 times x, 9x. All right, equals, it equals all the bottom numbers. 1 times 9 is 9, 2 times 9 is 18. So the bottom numbers are what we call our y's. So there's our equation, 9x equals y, or y equals 9x. Okay, let's try slide 23. There is a pattern. 16 plus 16 is 32. 32 plus 16 is 48. 48 plus 16 is 64. So we're adding 16 for the pattern. So that means the rule would be we would multiply by 16. 1 times 16 is 16. 2 times 16 is 32. 3 times 16 is 48. So we are multiplying the top row, which is our x, by 16. So let's drag down to 16 times x equals the bottom row, which are our y's, our dependent variables. Okay, slide 4. Now, it's asking us to graph the linear function. Here's our linear function, y equals 2x. Okay, that's what we're graphing. So when it tells us to graph this, it tells us, first of all, it's a linear function, so it's going to be graphed a straight line. All right, so when we eventually graph it, we have to make sure it's a straight line. The first step I hit is make a table. So I set the table up for you. You got your x's and your y's. You get to pick any numbers you want to put in for x, because your x, remember, it is your independent